Okay, now we're going to talk about the middle wing section, which is this part right here. This is your middle. If you look at this, if you don't count, well, let's count. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 feathers on this thing. Okay, so there are 2 ways to cut these. I cut every other one on my drawing. So we're counting 2 as number 1 because we're not counting this little one that's on the outside edge that's attached to your base wing. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Well, actually there's only 5. 6 goes with the top piece. So there's 5 feathers. So these feathers are pretty well defined. You can tell from the bottom. There's 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, not counting this one on the outside edge. So there are 2 ways to cut these. My preference is to just cut every other one. You need to mark them. You need to take the pieces you have cut and take your stylus, and you're going to come a little into the top piece with each feather, and you're going to go part way into your next feather. So this one is M1 on the drawing, so you would come up the top a little and you would come part way into this feather, which is your next feather, down to the edge of this. The simplest thing to do, I think, is to cut it all out in one piece, which is what I did here. Excuse me. And then I lined the feathers on the front so I could find them on the back. Okay? These are numbered on the front and on the back. Now, this method is Tony McCarthy's method. This is called side by side. So there are basically 5 feathers plus the overlap of this one that goes into 6. So what Tony does is she cuts number 1 with number 2. Then she cuts number 3 with number 4, and number 4 and number 5 with number 6. So when she does this, she has a big chunk of feather to hold on to. But you're only feathering to the end of this feather. So this feather ends right here. Oops, sorry. This one ends right here. So you're only going to feather to here, and then you have the remainder of this to assist you in placing it when you put it down. Then she takes the other section, and she won't do anything with this one, which is number 1, and then she will take 2 with 3, 4 with 5, and then this is the 6, which is really not, I mean, it's the tail end of this, so you don't really need to even do that. It's the tail end of the bottom section. So if you're doing 2 by 2s, you're going to have this. You're going to have feather number 1, number 3, and number 5, and then you're going to have 2 and 4. Oh boy, it'd be nice if I got it in the camera. So if you're doing it this way, you're going to take number 1 with number 2, and then you have number 3 with number 4, and number 5 with the hangover from the top section, which is technically 6. Okay, or you can do it the way it is on the drawing. You can cut out feather number 1 with a tab in number 2 and a tab at the top. Either way is correct, but either way you do this, you need to number these as you cut them. If you're going to do 2 by 2s, I number them on the top and on the back. And then when we're ready to put these on, you will lay them down sequentially. So you'll lay them in a row of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 in a row, so that you can pick these up, feather them, and glue them onto the base where they belong. If you're going to do the individual feathers, which is what I've done on your drawing, okay, so you have M1 is, let me see if I can turn this, there we go. M1 is the first feather with a portion of number 2, and then the third feather with a portion of number 3, and then the fifth feather with a portion of number 6. And then on this one I just did 2 with a portion of 3, and then 4 with a portion of 5. Either way is correct. I don't care which one you do it. This section is much easier than this section, which is technically undefined feathering. So before you go to this section, decide how you're going to cut these out. When you're doing this part, it may be easier to draw the individual feathers and cut them out that way, rather than trying to do 2 by 2 because it's an undefined area. Okay, I hope I didn't totally confuse you. If you have questions,